Hello everybody, I'm Dash Brandon, and today I wanted to do something a little bit different for my channel lately, and I wanted to talk about assault rifles. Namely, I wanted to talk about some sleeper assault rifles that are in the game, and most importantly, a lot of these weapons are from the base set or the expansion weapons, and you can research them or you can just find them in llamas now. Most people are trying to go for weapons like the Gravedigger, the Bundle Bust, the Siege Breaker, which to me has always been kind of meh, the Wraith, the Silent Spectre. These are the things that have outclassed a lot of the other assault rifles. But today I'm going to talk about a couple of weapons that are in the shadows of these weapons, and they're still decent weapons. They're not trash by any means, at least in my opinion. And I wanted to highlight some of their strengths while I was at it. I'd like to also real quick point out that these are not the best weapons for min-maxers most of the time, but they're fun to use and might just surprise you. The first one I would like to talk about is the Razor Blade. This was the first weapon that I legendary perked out. It was my go-to nature damage weapon. I've always loved this weapon, and ever since reperking was a thing, I just maxed it out. It was my favorite. The magazine is a decent size of 30 rounds, considering it fires a 2-round burst, so I like to go with reload on it. Reload, you feel like you always get something out of it, versus magazine size, you're really only getting something out of it if you spend your whole magazine, or at least more than the 30 rounds you would have anyways to kill something. It uses a small ammo, which is nice. The small ammo type. A lot of weapons in the game use medium ammo, so for me it was always nice that this weapon used the small ammo type. I also like the 2-round burst aspect because it's easier to keep the weapon stable versus when you're going super full auto like on a Siege Breaker. And the fire range is about 4 tiles before the damage drop off starts to occur, and that's pretty decent range for a low to mid tier, or low to mid range assault rifle. I think it's pretty good. I really like it. It's one of my favorite in the game still, even with all these other great weapons. I still love the Razor Blade. The next one that I'd like to talk about is the Hunter Killer. It's another great weapon that comes from the base set of the game. It's a semi-auto, so you'll want to keep that in mind. But it can be fired pretty quickly, and if you use a macro or a rapid fire key type of thing, then you can obviously get the full effect of the weapon without any of the drawbacks of it being a semi-auto weapon. It also has a nice round magazine of 30 that you can either extend or you can just go for the faster reload. I typically, on most weapons, go for reload speed, unless you watch one of my most recent videos, my meme Spitfire build, where I had a 400 round magazine. I was definitely rocking that. It was really fun. I'm usually a big fan of using reload perks, and you can get its reload under 1.5 seconds on the Hunter Killer with a maxed out reload perk. It also has a 15% base critical chance and can have 2 crit damage rolls on it if you desire. So you could build this weapon towards crit. It's also a good headshot weapon. Not necessarily because it has a massively high headshot multiplier, but because it's a semi-auto, so you can land those shots pretty effectively. I think this rifle in general would go really well with a first shot Rio build. The weapon is pretty stable because it's semi-auto. The Buzzcut is similar to the Hunter Killer, but has slightly more damage and reduced durability to compensate. If I had my choice between the two for the burst damage, I would probably go with the Buzzcut, even though I would be crafting it more often. But that's just because it has slightly higher damage, so it's going to burst a little bit better than the Hunter Killer. The Argon Assault Rifle. This one's where I'm going to lose some people, I think. This rifle isn't necessarily bad so long as you don't depend on it for a primary weapon. What I mean by this is if you're like me and you get tired of leaving energy ammo laying around on the ground, then this is a decent weapon to burn some of that ammo off. throw it on for one mission, you know, just switch it into your rotation of weapons you're using, burn off some of that energy ammo, and then switch back to your normal loadout. That way you're not leaving that energy ammo laying around. That's basically like saying you're leaving bacon laying on the ground all the time. Tend not to run this any weapon that uses a lot of energy ammo or bacon for very long, though, and try not to craft any energy ammo because the cost is so high. I'm always looking to pick it up. Once I max out at the 1,000 or whatever you can carry, then I go and swap it in, use it up. Maybe I'll give it to a defender and let them use like the neon sniper rifle, but I don't really use as many defenders as I probably should. As for the stats on the Argon assault rifle, it's kind of unremarkable, and rerolling its perks offers a few different setups. You can go either with 1 crit rating and 1 crit damage, double crit damage, or double damage builds. Like I said before, it's not a terrible weapon by any means, but I wouldn't rely on it all the time, as ammo costs can go quite high, simply because energy ammo still needs a rework, and Epic is still committed to making it cost bacon. And lastly, I have a few recommendations of weapons to stay away from in the base set and its expansions. The first would be the Deathstalker. I used this weapon for a long time as it was my only nature weapon way back in the launch of the game, and even I believe I was still using it in the Canny Valley because it was my only nature weapon that had a decent roll, and this was before re-rolling was a thing. It's a 3-round burst weapon. It only carries 15 rounds and has a decently long reload time, so you're only going to get 5 bursts out of it, and I can tell you right now, 5 bursts from this thing, unless you build it into some kind of a crit monster with a first shot Rio build, it's probably not going to kill a Smasher. The next would be the Death Ray. It's similar to the Argon Assault Rifle, but it has a longer reload time, and that's really the only reason to stay away from the Death Ray. If you got a decently rolled Death Ray, and you would have to re-roll an Argon Assault Rifle, and maybe just level up your Death Ray and go ahead and use that to burn up your ammo. Lastly, I would probably stay away from the Hammer Crush. It used to be called a baby Hydra, and if you missed the Hydra, it would get you by. Now that the Hydra is part of the expansion set in the game, I feel like you would be better off using a Hydra and researching one rather than picking up the Hammer Crush and using that. I'm hoping to do some more talks about these weapons that are sometimes overlooked or often overlooked. So I hope that you join me for those. I'm looking to do some sniper rifles and some shotguns. I'm not sure if there's enough pistols that are being overlooked. Maybe hammers. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. Maybe if someone requests something, I can look at it and see if we can put something together. I think that wraps up my talk about assault rifles, though. If you guys would like me to talk about some of the event assault rifles, since we'll be coming up pretty soon on the 2-year. Wow, we've already hit 2 years in this game. Well, just about. In July, it'll be 2 years. Since we're about to hit 2 years in the game, if you want me to talk about some event rifles that are overshadowed by the top tier, I can do that too. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you guys give it a like and subscribe if you are not already subscribed. And I will see you next time. I'm Dash Brandon. Bye bye.